She was the youngest CEO in her company's history, proud, untouchable, and certain no man could ever shake her world. But one morning, she woke up naked in the arms of a man she never expected. And what happened next shocked her entire company. This is not just a scandal. It's a story of power, pride, and an unexpected bond that broke every barrier of status and color. Sometimes the biggest lessons aren't learned in the boardroom, but in the most vulnerable moments of life. She was known as the untouchable CEO, brilliant, ambitious, and proud of being a virgin. To her, emotions were distractions and relationships were weaknesses. Her life revolved around numbers, deals, and the empire she had built. Love had no place in her world. But everything changed one morning. She woke up, her head pounding, the bright rays of sunlight streaming through the curtains. As she stirred, confusion gripped her. This wasn't her penthouse. The sheets were unfamiliar, the scent of the room different. Panic rose in her chest. She turned her head slowly and froze. There, lying beside her, was a man, a black man, his strong arm draped loosely across her waist. He was shirtless, his breathing calm, his face peaceful in sleep. She sat up abruptly, clutching the sheets to her chest. How did I get here? Memories from the previous night flickered. A corporate charity event, too much champagne, a small accident where she had stumbled, and a man's voice asking if she was okay. She had laughed it off, telling him she didn't need help. But he had stayed nearby anyway, his presence steady, reassuring. Somehow she remembered sitting with him later, away from the crowd, talking in a way she never had with anyone before. Now, in the harsh light of day, the realization hit her. She, the woman who prided herself on control, had woken up in the arms of a stranger. She shook his shoulder. "Wake up," she whispered sharply. His eyes opened slowly, warm and steady, meeting hers without panic. He sat up, rubbing his face, and reached for the shirt at the side of the bed. "You're awake?" he said calmly, his voice deep and gentle. "Who are you?" she demanded, her tone sharper than she intended. "My name is Marcus," he replied. "I'm a single dad. I work as a consultant, part-time driver, whatever keeps food on the table for my daughter." Her mind spun. A single dad? He didn't look like the polished executives she usually surrounded herself with. He was simple, grounded, and yet something about his presence unsettled her in ways she couldn't explain. I don't do this," she stammered. "I'm not this kind of woman." He met her gaze firmly. "Nothing happened that you didn't choose. You were tired. You needed rest. I just made sure you were safe." The sincerity in his voice disarmed her. She had expected mockery, maybe arrogance. Instead, there was only honesty. But the real shock came later, when she returned to her office. Whispers swirled among her board members. Someone had seen her leave the charity event with Marcus. Photos had surfaced. The CEO who claimed to be untouchable, seen in the company of a man who wasn't part of her glittering world. In the meeting room, one of the directors leaned forward with a smirk. "Care to explain this association?" Her cheeks burned. She was ready to deny everything, to protect her reputation. But then she remembered Marcus' words. "Respect isn't about how others treat me. It's about who I choose to be." For the first time in her career, she didn't play the part of the cold, perfect CEO. She looked her board straight in the eye and said, "That man you saw, he's a father. He's hardworking. And he treated me with more respect in one night than some of you have in years." If my reputation is shaken by being seen with someone decent and honest, then maybe it's time this company rethinks what it stands for. Silence filled the room. The smirks vanished. For once, the woman who built walls around herself wasn't hiding. She was speaking her truth. That evening, as she left the office, Marcos was waiting outside with his daughter. The little girl smiled shyly, holding a drawing in her small hands. "My daddy said you're his friend," she said softly. The CEO knelt down, tears stinging her eyes, and took the drawing. "Yes," she whispered, "your daddy is my friend." And in that moment, she realized love and respect weren't weaknesses. They were the very things that made her stronger. Because sometimes the man who shakes the walls of your perfect world isn't the one you planned for, but the one you needed all along. She thought her reputation was everything. She thought she could never fall for someone outside her world. But the man she woke up beside didn't just change her life. He showed her that true strength comes from love, respect, and courage. And that was a lesson no company could ever teach her.